Hi, this is Suchi, and in this video, we will discuss about another data type which is very much similar to list, but it is not a list because there are some major basic differences, and the name of the data type is tuple. What if we want to reassign any index of this tuple? So let us take another tuple which is a smaller one. Let's say I'm adding 3 values over here, 10, 20 and 30. So you can print it. Now I want to change this 20 to 25. So tuple 4 of the index 1, which is 20. I want to reassign this one to 25. Let us see what happens if we execute this cell. So as you can see, this is giving us a type error, which says tuple object does not support item assignment. So basically tuple cannot be changed. We cannot add anything to this tuple. Now, let us also try this. Tuple 4.append. So it says tuple object has no attribute append. So we cannot add anything to a tuple. We cannot reassign any value in this tuple. There is also no remove operation in tuple. So basically, tuples are not mutable. Those are immutable. Now, let's look back for a while. Here we have assigned one tuple which is having a list inside it. Now, as we already know that lists are mutable, lists can be changed. So what will happen if I try to change this list, which is existing as an element of a tuple? Can we change this list? Or it will also be unchangeable? So this is one question. So remember this question. Before that, I want to show you how to define a tuple with a single element. So you might be thinking, why am I talking about it? Because this should be similar like adding multiple elements. So defining a tuple with single element. Let us see how it behaves. So tuple 5, let's say, and I want to define this tuple with, I just want this thing. I just want this. Let's say a single element, X, Y, Z, whatever it is. So I want a tuple with a single element like this. So how I can achieve that? So you might say, okay, we can do this. Wouldn't it work? If I do this, and let me check what is the value of this tuple 5, as well as what is the type of this tuple 5. Let us check. So if I run this, you can see, isn't it pretty strange? The value of this tuple 5 is just X, not a tuple. It's just X, and the type is a string. So this is the reason why we need to do some extra work here for defining a tuple with a single element. Even if you might think that, okay, I have provided string, that is why it is happening. I would say no, because we can also have some number here and it will work in the similar way. It will be an integer. So because I have assigned an integer number within curly braces, it is taking the number as the value of this variable, and this variable type is becoming integer, and same will go for a float. So in case of single element, if we are trying to assign in this way, it is actually assigning the value directly to the variable. It is not considering it as a tuple. So how we will make it understand that you need to consider it as a tuple, not as a single value. So one way of doing this is, just copy this. One way of doing this is using the constructor. So we can use this tuple constructor. Now as you can see, the value is coming like this, which is a tuple, and the class is tuple. So you can see the data type is becoming tuple if we are using tuple constructor and passing it as a list. Now here you can see this is printed as a tuple, where you can see a comma after this value. This gives you a hint. This gives us a hint how we can also create a tuple without using tuple constructor with a single value. How we can do that is nothing but we will just pass, I'll just remove this, we will just pass this. So which is nothing but within curly braces, the single element and a comma after that. So if we use this, then it becomes a tuple and it behaves as a tuple. You can see we can access this first index element with the index value 0. So it will behave similarly as a tuple. So this is how we can do this. Now let us come back to the previous question. In case of nested tuples, so here we have our nested tuple, right? This one. So let us create another nested tuple over here. It's a tuple 6. And definitely let me just comment this out. So let us use our tuple 6, which will be a nested tuple. Let us have some values over here, simple values, and then some list inside this tuple. Let's say it will have some 10, 20, 50. And again, some other values. Fine, this is our tuple. So as you can see, this is our tuple 6. So as you can see, this is the tuple and this is the type of that variable, which is tuple. So this is for verification purpose. Now we have verified the type of this. So we are clear that this is a tuple. Now let us change something in this tuple. Let us just try to update our third index. Let's say 0, 1, 2, which is this one, which is a list basically. So let us try to update this. Can we reassign any other value over here? Let us try. So as you can see, this is throwing us an error, which is tuple objects does not support item reassignment. So this does not support updation of an item. That's fine. So now there is one del method in Python. We have this del keyword, using which we can delete any variable. So let us try also to delete some tuple element. Let's say the same one. Let us try to do this. So here you can see tuple object does not support item deletion. So we are not allowed to delete, we are not allowed to assign, we are not allowed to add anything to the tuple as well. But what about this list? Can we append new values to this list? Can we change any values to this list? Because as we know, we can do this thing with a list. If there is a list, let's say LST1, we have some values 10, 50, 60. And now if we try to update anything in this, let's say I want to update the index 1, which is 50 to 55. And then I want to print it. You can see it got updated. But what about this list, which is residing under this, inside this tuple? So let us check this tuple 6. Now let us check the data type of this third element, which is 0, 1, 2, index 2. So tuple tuple 6. Then we will send the index number and let us check the type. So the type is list. Now what do you say? Can I do this? How to access this element? So let us just print it first. So as you can see, here we are getting this list at the element 2. Now, if I want to access this 10 or 20 or 30, can we use list indexing here? Yes, we can use. We just need to add another level of third brackets here, over here, and then we can add the index whichever we want to access. Let's say we want to access 10. So 10 is at the 0th index. We will just pass 0 here. So you can see we are getting 10. If we want to access 20, we can do this. If we want to access the 30, so we have to do this. So as here you can see, we can easily access the indexes of the list, and we can even check that type of this is a list. So let us try some list operations over this second index element, the index 2 element. So let us just try to append. Let me print the tuple before updating the list. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to append a new value to this list, which is residing under this tuple, residing within this tuple. So I want to add 40 here. I'll just run this. And you can see the 40 has been added to this. So which means even if a mutable object resides under a tuple or within a tuple, it does not lose its mutable nature. This list will still remain mutable. The only thing is we cannot change the tuple structure even if it is a part of a tuple. It is not losing its mutability. We can do other list operations as well. For example, if at the end position, we want to change the value to 100, we can do that easily. As you can see, it is changed. So the list is not losing its mutability. That's what it happens. And don't get confused. This is actually not changing the tuple. Changing the tuple will include only adding element to the tuple, deleting element from the tuple, and assigning value to any tuple index. But apart from that, if some operation is applicable on individual element of the tuple as its own nature, for example, here list is mutable, so we can do whatever we want with that particular element, but it is not, we cannot consider it as updating the tuple. So that's it for today. We will discuss about sets in our next video. Till then, keep implementing and keep learning. Thanks for watching this video.